Thank you. Just want to check this is on. So just to be clear about the farmhouse, I wish I could say it was due to my own curiosity, but really it's come down to I really love solving problems, and I've been with my wife for 23 years, and she gives me plenty of them. So one of the problems was she wanted a new kitchen table, a certain size, certain way, and she couldn't find it online, so I decided, well, what the heck, I'll go build it. So just to be clear, but I do like challenges, and I do love solving problems. So really quick background about me. I come from the marketing, advertising, digital design background. I've worked with brands such as McDonald's, Boeing, KFC, State Farm. And again, I have a background in design, but the thing I really, really love doing is figuring out solutions, right? So there's tons of problems. We solve problems every single day. But when it comes to design, that's essentially solving the problems in a visual way, which again, I get totally geeked out about. So today I'm going to cover three main things that kind of discuss everything about design, and especially when we come to making products for you, our clients. And they told me there's a little bit of lag. And they weren't kidding. So I'll just start. So the three topics are storytelling, mobile-first design, and then design trends. So, and actually, I just made a joke before I came up here, and I said I was going to do a mic check, and it's literally happening because his name is Mike. So. All right. So that was good. So yeah, again, agenda, storytelling, mobile-first design, and design trends. So the first I'd like to get in, wrong way, learn how to drive. So the first is storytelling. So what is storytelling, and why do we even care? Why do we need it? Right? Storytelling is like the most important thing when it comes to your brand or when it comes to your product. And what that really means is it's essentially taking all the information about your brand or your product, and especially when it comes to a website or a web presence, and it literally tells that story. And that means when a user first comes to your site, they should instantly get everything they should know about your brand. Now, it doesn't mean all the details, but it should mean as soon as they come to that site, what are you trying to communicate? Are you a destination that has tons of things to do? Are you a place that is based on very high-end boutique? Are you a place that is based on, central location and many different attractions? So one thing is, you'll see here, there's a slight animation, but I'm using the Chase Park Plaza website that we did. And essentially, storytelling is a way to deliver a great user experience. So for instance, if you were to first come to this site, what you'll instantly see is a bunch of black and white photos, right? But it feels very combination of high-end, but also historic, right? So we always see black and white photos, and we think, oh, it's kind of history or memories. But then, and actually, let me go back so it'll just redo it. So you'll see the images that are black and white all of a sudden start coming to life in a very, very dynamic, colorful way. And that happens over a rollover, so it doesn't automatically happen. But as the user is met with this page, you get everything in a screenshot, right? So you're met with everything from accommodations, to events, to a photo gallery, to wedding events, to our story. And it's done in a very visual way. So again, when you first come there, you have a certain feel of what this hotel property is about. That also is very important because as a user first comes here, they're met with a couple key pieces of information. The logo, Chase Park Plaza, all the content that this property features, navigation, so they know where and what to do and where to go. And then the most important thing is book now. It's call to action. So if they've already heard about this property from their friends via social media, or if they've read reviews and they're like, yeah, I get it, I just want to book a room now, make that really easy. So telling that story to a user is very important because you want to make sure they just instantly either are reinforced with what they've either heard or learned from an outside source or even media, or they instantly just understand what it's all about when they first get to that property. I think I was doing the animations again. I really like the animations. All right, so one example of a great storytelling is using Solmar property, right? So when you first get here, and I kind of named it Tropical Tranquility, because it's literally how you feel, right? So I'll look right here. But literally, like when I went to the site, some of these screen captures, hopefully they're in your liking, but I instantly got tropical tranquility. So it's everything from expansive views of the property, which is just amazing. But you also key out things, certain elements such as like spa packages. So you can get a spa package in like, it's like seriously, like look at where you can get a spa package. Like just, it's beautiful. But they also have imagery such as, you know, someone getting a treatment or even just some of the food. And it reinforces that entire brand and that entire property. It's one cohesive look and feel and story. So even if I didn't know anything about this property, but I found it either through media or I found it through social media or reviews, I would instantly be able to get your story. It's just tropical tranquility, it's a paradise. That would then inspire me, whether I'm on mobile or desktop, to explore a little bit more. I'll either want to find out a little bit more about the property, or I'll want to go ahead and go, yeah, I'm sold. I just want to book right now. So that's one example. Another example that I'm using is Business Boutique. Right, so this is Seaport in Boston, and this is very well known as being a boutique kind of hotel approach, but it's very, very tailored to weddings and business meetings. So when you get there, you should have that same feel. And again, this pays it off. Everything from seeing the wedding venue photos to the wedding planners to overall, there was a nice little piece of information. I'm going to use the laser pointer because I'm just really excited about it. But I don't know if you can see it. But the thing I really like is they've got this little module that tells you the weather, right? So if you're traveling to Boston and you've either heard about it or you're just looking for a hotel, it's going to tell you what the weather is there. Now, you might think, who cares? I got to go there anyways. But what it'll do is trigger that kind of mindset to go, okay, well, it's going to be about 80s. I'm going to look for things to do. What else is going on there while I'm at my business meeting or planning my wedding? If I'm trying to plan my wedding during a certain time, trying to find out how the weather is going to kind of range out. So that was another great piece of storytelling. Another one, and I've got just enough lag so I can do like a point. Hawaiian Hospitality, right? So Ala Moana in Honolulu. This one you instantly get. Now, when people hear Hawaii and Honolulu, you instantly have a picture in your mind, right? Colors, photos, and you just feel Hawaiian. This pays it off beautifully, right? You've got it organized in a way that you can still highlight colors, photos, but you instantly get this sense of hospitality. Like when I come to Hawaii, if anyone's ever been there, this reinforces it. So you know when you come to this site and when you come to this property, you're going to be reinforced with everything that should do and encompass hospitality. You'll feel welcome, you'll feel calm, and you'll just want to stay and relax. Again, reinforcing it with imagery, everything from the rooms showing, you know, waterfront views to just even activities to do while you're at the property. And then another important thing is whenever reviews can be featured, and I believe that one talks about the dining experience, that's really important. Again, if you're playing off of hospitality, and that's one of the things that it's really focusing on, having those reviews reinforce it are very important. There we go. And last, Hotel Nico. So this one I kind of framed or named Asian aesthetic, right? And if anyone knows about Asian aesthetic, this is it. So everything from the cuisine to just the overall approach on how the property is managed and it's represented to the visitors. So the other thing is it also comes down to the user interactions and the user interface. So if you notice, it's a very sleek black background. It's got highlights of blue, which play off of the logo. And apart from that, there's not really any other colors apart from the photography. So it's very simple and it plays off of that Asian aesthetic. Even coming down to the booking module, which takes over a full screen and is just very simple and intuitive. So these are just simple ways to do storytelling, but it's one of the most important things is to figure out and focus on what is your brand, what is your property primarily representing, and then how do you bring that to life through photography, navigation, the user interface, and then also little things such as features such as reviews or even the weather if it's relevant. But you really need to dive down and figure out what's the most unique selling proposition or points about your property and bring those to life. So next is mobile first design. So mobile first design, we've already heard some about it in the previous two presentations. But one of the big things is, I just want to make sure, maybe my tie's falling. So one of the things is with mobile first design, there's a way to do design without having a lot of stuff, right? So everything that we just heard with mobile design is making sure that it's always focused on the user. You have to put that user first. And that's understanding how they interact with that device. So if it's a smaller screen, it doesn't mean just taking everything and putting it into a smaller screen. They don't want all that stuff. You need to understand how and where they're coming from. So are they coming from just a Google Map search? They just need something that's close, or are they coming from a review or a piece of social media or anywhere? But just understand how they're coming there and what they're looking for. So one of the things, obviously, and I kind of said it, but literally optimize your mobile site experience. Don't just put everything into a smaller screen. That's not the way to go, and that's not what users are looking for. So just see some key components, and I'll just run through them. So one, obviously, book now button. If you're a hotel, you want people to book a hotel room. But next is phone icon. So again, as much as we think a lot of people do just prefer texting, which they do, but sometimes you're going to have users that are like, I just want to call and talk to someone. I just want to hit a button right on my phone and call someone. So that's very important. So there's another piece of key component to have on mobile first. Another thing is search function. So if they get to your property, they're already maybe sold into the property and wanting to stay there, but they want to search either accessibility, or they want to search dining, or they just want to search, right? So have that as a universal element. It doesn't need to take over a lot of real estate. Use some minor things such as magnifying glass, or just even a search field that says search. But something that really kind of identifies how to get to search. A couple of things are full screen menu, which you'll see, icon navigation at the bottom. So again, making sure those thumbs work really hard for users because they're on these smaller screens. And then make sure your imagery and user-focused content is really coming to life about your property. So one example is large navigation for easy thumb use. So whether it be the menu or whether it be the booking agent, take over full screen. Don't have little pop-up modules or light boxes or anything that forces the user to kind of pinch or zoom in. Make it really easy. You've got that screen and they're used to doing it. So these are just some good examples with Seaport, Solmar, Mystic property, but everything, it can either just be a full screen or it can even be slide in from the left. It's really popular. So that way you're keeping them engaged with your site, but they can also get easy navigation. Another thing, big thing, call to actions, right? Because they equal conversion. So get the user to do something. Don't have them spend too much time on that mobile device. They're not going to spend that much time anyways. They want to get to do what they need to do. So again, search icons, booking rooms, navigation, and then also in some instances having a secondary navigation at the bottom, like the most important aspects. So book now button, call, things like that. It's very nice and intuitive. And then last is user-focused imagery. Bring your property life. You've got that screen, it's got retina displays and all these beautiful things that are so intimate with the user with a handheld device. So let your imagery really kind of speak for itself. And again, also when it comes to things like specials and package, right? So you can see on the Outrigger, when I come to that section, I see specials and package. Yeah, I'm ready to book. Put a call to action right then and there. Don't make them click into it and then have to book. If they're sold on it, let them go. So last topic I'd like to cover is just design trends. And this is very general, but in a way that it covers some things that are kind of happening in the market right now. So some things to kind of continue to watch. None of these are like brand new, but they've been out there and some of them are kind of evolving in different ways. So everything from card style, which is literally, if you've heard about Google material design, things like that. Like let people feel like there's pieces of content and information contained within an area that they can interact with. Video integration, if you have that and you can optimize it to bring that experience to life, that's another popular thing. Subtle animations is really huge. So especially when people are on mobile devices, but also desktop, give them these little rewards, which are very subconscious. But like as you hit submit, to have a little animation that either gives a little checkbox or just a thumbs up or something, it's just a little pleasant reward that reinforces that experience at your site. Flat design is literally just that. It's flat design, so it's not keeping it with too much dimension and craziness back and forth on the phone. People want to be able to navigate and get through the site easily. Micro interactions kind of plays into subtle animations. It's just these little subtle things that reward the user as they're going through your site. And then last is user-focused content. Make sure that content is focused on the user. So tee up that information that they're looking for. So a couple things. This is using Turf Valley Resort. So for instance, this is a resort with multiple selling points, right? And it's been teed up in a way that we have the navigation at the top, but we also have it done in kind of this card format. So we're highlighting you can play championship golf, and we have a 40,000 square foot meeting space, which is fantastic. But it's done in a very organized grid-like manner, right? So it's a combination of card style and flat design. So you're able to get all this imagery in front of the user without overwhelming them. Another example, and again, you saw it previously, but again, this is using a luxury hotel with historic charisma. So one way to do this is through card design and flat design, where we've got everything gridded out, but we've also got these little micro interactions, right? So again, the site starts off black and white, but when you roll over it, all of a sudden comes to life in this vibrant, high color format. We've also got little rollovers. So as you roll over it, and our story will pop up with a little brief introduction or a little brief paragraph about what their story is, and engages you to click further into that site. So there's a lot of nice little interactions that you can do that really bring your story and your site to life. And the last thing is, I'm kind of calling this like this Panoramic Paradise. Solmar, right? Beautiful property, and this uses video integration. So it's got video that pans through several different aspects of those properties. And when you see the video, I honestly couldn't get it to load well on the presentation. But check it out. But what it does is it literally pans you. So you get this really great expansive sense of the property and all the different aspects of that property, and it's just beautiful. So to end, what I'd like to just reinforce and remind everyone is kind of three things. One, the most important thing on your site is making sure that the user experience is memorable. So whether it be through storytelling, whether it be making sure those call to actions are front and center, and you lead the user through that experience, which is number two, create the easiest path for conversion. Get that user when they come to your site to convert. And then last thing is always keep the user top of mind. So you've got all this great information about your property and about your brand, and make sure that you're taking that information and really distilling it down to what's going to be top of mind and most useful for the user. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brian. We have time for a few questions if anyone has any. As a reminder, you can always use the hashtag MDMC2016 to tweet your questions, and we will address them either in a session or perhaps at dinner. But we have a question over here to begin.
I'm Mohammed with Baywood Hotels. One of the things was mentioned earlier about download speed and site speed. With some of the designs you went over, how are they affected?
Yeah, so for instance, Solmar, right? And you have to look at two different things. So are you just talking speed like in general or specifically for mobile? Both. Just in, right, both. So when we do that, test my site with Google, like what comes up. So as Banu mentioned, that test my site had come out, over the past kind of couple months. And so these are something that we as a company are looking at really, really strongly. Some of the things that have already been implemented that may or may not affect that speed, but what we're doing is taking a look at everything that we're doing and figuring out ways that we can either adjust it now or as we move forward with new products and new sites. So in terms of speed, there's different things. Solmar, for instance, with the video integration, that's going to eat up a little bit of speed loading time. But what you have to keep in mind is the user may not be that irritated or jump off of the site that quickly because it's on a desktop. And once they get there, they might be rewarded with how beautiful all of that video footage is. Now, we're not implementing that on the mobile site. That would be another issue. But there's just certain ways, and again, we are, as Banu mentioned, we're looking at ways to optimize the CMS and make sure that we can address anything that we can do now.
Any other questions? Yes, over here.
What are your top three, it doesn't have to be hotel specific, but just websites that integrate really, really good design? Just your favorites.
So design is in beautiful brand design or design like functional design? Because the one thing, and I had a feeling somebody would ask that. So I looked at one, and to me, SLS, Beverly Hills, I went to their mobile site. You look at it and you don't think this is going to win, you know, what everyone typically thinks is a design award. But when you look at it, there's core components on that site that loads up, first of all, super quick. Second of all, interacts super quick. So no matter what you hit on or interact with, it just loads like that. And that's what I want as a user. Now, I'm by no means a 20-something, but I'm also no means like an 80-something. I'm right in the middle. So I'm just enough attitude that like I want what the younger people want, but I also understand what, you know, the other generation has. So I'm right in the middle, and that site, I've stayed at the property, but also when I visited that mobile site, I was just really, really happy because I still got a sense of what that brand and that property was about, but it didn't irritate me by loading something up or having something placed in a weird spot that I couldn't navigate. So that's one of the properties that I really like.
Further questions? I think I missed wherever. Did anyone have a question? Sorry, I might have missed your hand, if so. If not, then thank you very much, Brian.
All right.